walked up in here. We got braids going on over here with Miss Tawana. Y'all, if y'all have been watching us and following us, this is what episode 4.
Yes.
So Tawana is normally in her head wrap and it's matching and it's coordinated to her outfit. So trust me, I was pleasantly surprised when I walked in here today.
Yes.
So how you feel?
I feel great. I'm getting ready for your weekend.
Oh yeah, so
This is all for you, baby.
the birthday girl. We walked up in here. Miss Nicole got thighs out for days.
You say grown and sexy this week, right?
I did say grown and sexy. And look at them. They are starting out early. And then y'all see Miss Keisha over here. She took the braids out. And the lips are popping with the color. I see, right? Mothers, boss chicks, and that is what today's topic is about: motherhood while being a boss chick.
Yes.
Man, the ups and downs, the joys, the cries, the pains, the tears, all of that.
Whoop your ass.
Yeah. That give you that look. I know you're not trying here today, right? So we want to jump on in because this is definitely one that hits home for each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Each of us here at the table are mothers, definitely boss chicks. Mothers of 1, mothers of 2, mothers of 3.
And a grandmother.
And a grandmother over here as well. So we got all elements on the show today to really kind of dig into this. Also, I think what's important to point out is each one of us have had motherhood at different stages
Yes.
in our life. So I think that was why it was extremely important for us to bring this topic up because where we started, when motherhood happened for each of us, when we started our journey to being a boss chick, business women and all of that. So let's dig in. So let's talk about going into motherhood initially. So the fears, the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the, like Nicole said, the whoop your ass if I need to. So I'm going to throw it actually to Keisha and let her kind of talk to us about your motherhood journey.
I have a story actually
Okay.
when I first become a mother. So I started. I was shacked up with my
Shacking up.
I was shacked up first. Let me just put
Okay.
it out there. And then lo and behold, I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
I was 4 months. Didn't even know. I actually drunk I turned 30.
Ooh, you were turned
I
up.
was turned
Turned
up.
up.
I turned up and didn't find out I was in April. And my doctor, because it was, the soreness.
and
And I didn't even realize my cycle didn't come on. I was studying for the Series 6 and 63.
oh
started-
yeah.
And oh my goodness, when she told me that, I was like, no, I just was drinking. I said, I was like, drunk. She's like, no, that's okay. That's okay. As long as you know now.
Right.
Let's not do this for a while. I said,
Okay.
all right.
So what was the initial feelings? It passed I was drunk. So
my parents didn't know I was shacking. Now I got to tell them I'm pregnant.
Oh no, Keisha.
Yeah.
Anybody know Miss Lily?
Right.
Oh, you know her.
Yes.
You know her.
No,
huh?
no, you know where
you
I'm going.
are fearing for Keisha's life too, right?
You know where I'm going, right? So I said, okay, my dad, I think he'll be all right. But then I'm like, my mom, I'm going to have to get her last. So let me call my dad. So I told him, I was like, hey, just, fast forward a little bit. Me and my boyfriend we've been staying together for about a year.
Okay.
You've been what? Yeah.
Let me just tell him we can stand together first. That he's just not some random dude. It's just not some random dude.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And I'm 4 months pregnant.
You hit him hard,
Yes.
Keisha.
Wow.
I had to get it over.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
just get it over. I told him, he was already shocked. I was crying. Not because not actually because I'm having a baby, but
Right.
I was an adult. But the fact I didn't even tell my parents I was shacking up.
No.
Now I'm like, look, I'm pregnant too.
Right.
So I was like, okay, all right.
And
So
how old were you?
I was 30.
30. Okay, 30. Yeah, you just celebrated. Okay,
Uh-huh.
30. Okay.
And
Okay.
so my dad didn't say nothing. He just
Well,
gave the phone to
technically
my
you
mom.
grown.
I am.
You grown.
But like Nicole
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
no, Lily,
Okay.
she's old
fashion.
that,
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yes,
I got it.
yes.
I got
So I told him, and then he gave the phone to my mom, and so, you know, my mom, she was talking to me. She was saying some, you know, not really bad things, but she was just talking to me and things like that. And so I gave him a day or two, and they eventually, but boy, when that day came, oh my goodness, for being a mom, that was it was at that time, yeah, we still we wasn't married yet, and so my mom came down, and so she stayed for 4 months just to help
Yeah, it
me
changes
out.
once the baby's here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right, Grandma.
Yeah,
It changes once the
absolutely.
baby's here. You might not be feeling that way while you know you carrying, but when the baby's here, it tends to change
It
things.
changes things, but oh my goodness, the whole birth, just going through it, and just the whole process.
Okay.
And just
Now at 30, you've had, and it's Paige. You've had Paige. Now, where were you in your career at that point?
at my career, I was basically at that point I was like working for a bank
Okay.
at that time,
Okay.
and so I just transitioned to a new position because I had to do
Oh.
a 6 series and became licensed. And then once I had her, then a year later they bumped me up to assistant manager.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. So I was content.
So
Being a
would you
mom.
say that was also where you just kind of starting your career path? You kind of feel at the same time becoming a mother as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So a
Yes.
little bit of challenges with that.
It was definitely challenges. And then we eventually got married, just justice of the peace. And we just
Okay.
went ahead and just did it like that. And then just being a new wife, and I got complacent, you know.
Girl,
just-
you did a whole lot in a
I
little bit of
did.
time.
I did. I
You said,
know.
let me just go on and do it all.
I did.
Okay.
But that little girl, I was like, wow, just taking care of another human.
Yes. Yes.
I was like, Lord, am I ready? But yes, I am ready. You know, I gotta be ready.
Yeah, she here.
Right?
Yeah, right. Right.
So it was those challenges, and to believe it or not, I didn't even recognize it. My husband at the time, he recognized. Well, he wasn't my husband, sorry, at the time, but he recognized some changes in my the way I was, and so he even Googled, and he came to me.
Oh, postpartum? Really?
He saw
So
it.
mood swings,
Mhm.
just
She
everything.
would cry, would just sit there.
Oh, so kind of like, and that not really
I
having that
was.
attachment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But actually, like, I didn't know I was in it.
In it.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
But for him to see it and his
Mhm.
concern
Yeah.
and encourage, we went to my doctor and she asked me questions. She said yes.
Yes.
Well, not ask me, ask him basically.
Because you
'Cause I
you
couldn't
you
really-
couldn't recognize
No,
it. Right. Right.
no.
Or articulate it very
Right.
well. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
How long do you think you kind of stayed in that space?
I don't know, but it was months. I don't know. My mom stayed for 4 months. And then after her, he went back to work. I can't really point a finger at what point it turned around for me.
Okay.
I really can't remember.
Well, it definitely did because you love that girl.
Oh,
to
yeah.
death. You
That's
love
my
her to
baby.
death, so you know that.
Absolutely.
All right, what about you, Miss Nicole?
I was ready and excited about becoming a mother. I was right around 32. I just got married maybe like a year before.
Okay.
So a little nervous because of course we don't get a handbook on this
No.
thing.
And it's the
called
hardest job in the world.
Yes, so I have 2 sons, Mason and Jace, and so they're roughly about 2 years apart.
Okay.
And so I didn't have the luxury of growing up around my family with the grandmother and mom to help me with the young ones when they were smaller. So we struggled in that area with sitters. We really wasn't comfortable with a lot of
I can
people
understand that.
caring for little babies. So in that regard, it was kind of rough for us. Randall's mom was here, but she lived in Pearland, and we were in like the Cypress area, so it was just too much
travel-wise.
too much travel-wise. So
Forget trying to go have a date night.
Yes.
Everything you got to do to drive to Pearland, you better
Yeah.
find something to do in Pearland,
Yeah.
right?
So it was kind of rough in that regard. So I wish we would have had like my mom. My mom is here now, but when they were younger,
She
we didn't
wasn't
have
here.
none of that.
And then where were you career-wise?
Career-wise, I was already a business owner.
Okay.
So yeah, that was not too much of a struggle, but it was still early on. I think we was 2007 that we opened up Anointed Caring Home. So Mason was born in 2010.
2010. Okay.
Yeah, so we were still kind of early in the stages, but still learning the business, still trying to grow it. So there were a few rough patches in that regard, but me, I figured it out. It just took one time to bump my head, and I was like, okay, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got strategic real quick and figured out how to make that thing work.
Okay, all right.
So yeah.
So for me, I think Tawana and I share some similar stories where we are both teenage moms. So I had DJ, kind of the same where. I could be the poster child for you get pregnant on the first time. So let me tell you right now.
Put me beside.
Yeah, you can't. See, somebody told me that you can't do that, and I believed it. And literally, the first time I had ever had intercourse, I got pregnant with DJ. My situation was I didn't believe it. My mother and I, you know how they say when women are in the same house together and they have cycles, you eventually get on the same cycle. Had never heard that before, but my mother recognized it, and so it'd become that time of month. She'd go through part of, the supplies. I'd go through it, and then for like 2 months, I didn't go through it. And I didn't think anything about it because I was athletic. I was still in school, and I had never had a normal menstrual cycle at that point. And my mother came to me and was stressing me, and she kept saying, I think you're pregnant. And I'm like, no, ain't nobody gonna be like you, because she had me like when I was 16. Oh yeah, I was giving it to her. I was like, ain't nobody gonna be like you. And she kept saying, Deanna, I think you should go get it. And so I literally only went and got the pregnancy test done at the health department to get her off my back.
Yeah.
So DJ's dad, he went with me and everything. We're in there, and I'm just all, happy. And I'm like, I'm going to go in here, and they're going to say it's negative, and I'm going to tell my mama. I had all kinds of attitude. And so the lady calls me back, and then, do the little pee in the cup thing, and she sit me back out, and then she calls me back in, and she says, what's your last cycle? And I tell her. She says, well, honey, you pregnant. And I'm sitting there looking at her. I'm like, you lying. You lying. Somebody else test. Like, I'm at the health department. There's a lot of people out there. Y'all lying. She was like, no. So all of a sudden, and I'm literally in shock because she's pushing all these papers. So if you know anything about the health department, it's colored paper, and it's supposed to tell you every stage that you in. So she was like, you're in the first trimester, and she gave me all this stuff, and she kept saying, you gonna be okay. And I said, yeah. I bossed up. I was like, yeah, I'm good. So I walk outside, I check out DJ's dad, and he's sitting there looking at me. He was like, everything okay? I said, everything good. Man, we walked outside, and I started kind of like falling behind him. I will never forget this. And he was walking ahead just talking, not realizing that I'd fallen behind. Honey, we in the parking lot. Next thing I know, I had done jumped on this man's back. I was pounding him in the head. I was beating him in his back. I told him it was all his fault because he's 4 years older than me. So I'm like, you should have known better. Like, I'm only 16, right? Like, you're 20. You're in college. You should have, and you knew I was a virgin. Like, there was people walking by us. They were trying to figure out who was beating who because he was trying to get me off of him. And he was like, Deanna, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So I went home, and let me tell you, I came up with a good lie. I walked up in there because I did not want my mama to know she was right. She's sitting on the couch, and I walked in there, and I said, it was negative. And she said, okay. So I went on in the room, and I'm sitting in there. My mother and I are really close, and I'm sitting on the bed, and I'm like, I can't lie to her. I can't lie to her. So I come outside and I say, Mom, she said, girl, go on and come over here and sit down. I already know you're pregnant. I already know. So fast forward, so DJ's born literally, like his birthday was yesterday. Mine is next Monday. So I almost gave myself a birthday present, my 17th birthday present. And what I did, I wasn't completely like out of whack being pregnant because I'm the oldest of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd always been the latchkey kid. My mother was a single mom. So I was responsible for all of my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was like, well, I've been raising kids pretty much all my life, having my own. Now, I did change things because my goal, the way I had my life plan, I was supposed to graduate high school, go to Howard, get my entertainment attorney degree. And I was going to be out. I was going to be in California somewhere. But wasn't no kids going to be attached to me, okay? Like, I had literally made it up in my mind after being and raising my brothers and sisters that I didn't necessarily even know if I wanted kids. And not that I had a bad taste in my mouth, but I just kept saying it's not one of my goals. Like a lot of my girlfriends, you could hear that was their goal. That wasn't my goal. And I was like, well, if I do have one, it'll be to check the box. Okay, yeah, I had a baby. Let me say I did that on the bucket list. And so, so for me, I didn't have a career. I didn't even know. Now everything had changed. What I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, all of that was going to change. I had this little bitty baby that I was responsible for, and my mother was, at that time, she helped, but she also made it very clear, this is your child. This is you and his child, and y'all are responsible for that. So I moved out early. I moved out when I was like 17 and a half. I worked 2-3 jobs. So what I can say, having DJ at that age, is although it obviously changed the trajectory of where I wanted my life to be, it actually pushed me harder. Because one of the things that I had always prided myself on was that I never wanted to be a statistic. And here I had become a statistic. And so I said, okay, Lord, if I'm ever a statistic, it's going to be this one time. But I was never on the system. And these are things that and I'm not saying that's anything wrong, because you have to do what's best for you. But because I felt like I had failed myself in that area, I was like, I will work 3-4 jobs. I will hook on the street. I'm going to do whatever it needs to do. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to be on nobody's system. I'm not going to get no certain type of services. I was dead headstrong on that wasn't going to be my life, and I wasn't going to check any more of those boxes. So for me, DJ definitely helped bring me to where I am and give me that drive. And then by the time Jordan and Naya came, Claude and I, we were dating, had gotten married. Jordan came that same year. And then Naya, and believe it or not, only one of my children were planned, and that was Naya. And there was some guidelines about Naya too, because Naya's was, you better make it happen before I turn 30. And so my husband, literally, Valentine's night of my that year that I was turning 30, he took me out. I think he slipped me something too. I think he did, because all I remember is being pretty much carried up the stairs of our townhome. And the next thing I know, my birthday time frame in March, I'm finding out that I'm pregnant with Naya. So he snuck Naya in.
Well, he did
at
what
30.
you did.
Right. Now, listen,
You
y'all see,
always
you always look at you. So that's my story about coming into motherhood and all of that. What about you, Tawana?
Okay, mine's pretty much similar to Deanna's. I was a teenage mom, 15 years old, first time. So after the first time, I had one of my 18-year-old cousins to go with me to the health department so I can get some pills.
Too late.
Well, gets there, take the pregnancy test, and the lady said, it's positive. I said, yes.
What were you saying yesterday?
Yes. Well, positive, I meant something good to me. I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm finna get these pills.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm like, so the lady, so I'm just saying, like, yes, it's positive. So the lady looking at me like, baby, I'm 15.
Right.
You know I don't know.
No,
She
right.
said, baby, you won't be able to get the pills, baby. You are pregnant. Are you going to come through the clinic? You're going to have abortion. By the time I must have passed out. So when I came back through, I said, ma'am, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't even know if I'm going to be living once I go and tell these people. So we left out the clinic. I told the lady, I said, I don't know. You just got to give me some time. I don't know. So we left out the clinic, and my cousin and I, we walked across the street to the grocery store. Well, who should be at the grocery store but my dad?
Oh, goodness.
And he always made jokes. Girl, I saw you coming out from over there. You must be pregnant. I just broke down and cried. Yes! So he was the first one I told. He said, "Get your tail in this car." So I had to go home and I had to tell my mom. The hardest part wasn't telling my mom. Actually, it was telling my granddad, who lived with us, and I was very, very close to. So fast forward a little bit, I think my family, because I was real active in school, like academic-wise, and so they had already pretty much planned for me to have the abortion once they found out. And so when I discussed it with my granddad said, no, hell no, she would not have an abortion. Well, it was bittersweet for me because I was close to my granddad, and my grandfather died a month before I had Damien.
Wow.
And so, you know, back then they were saying the old saying, when an old person leaves, it's because someone new. And so for a long time, I was like, I killed my granddad.
Oh, that's a lot of guilt.
Yeah, so it was a lot.
Yes.
So it just let you know your mindset at 15.
Very impressionable.
So fast forward, I go in labor with Damien. Didn't know what labor felt like. Didn't know what to expect. 4th of July, I'd sit up and probably ate 2 slabs of ribs, 2 watermelons. Just
what were you trying to do? Stock up. You were trying to stock up because you didn't know when you were gonna eat again. So, I didn't know when she was gonna eat again.
So look, I decided I want to get on the floor and do a few sit-ups. I said I'm 15. Now you know I don't know.
Doing too much.
So maybe about 5 o'clock that morning, the next morning after the 4th, my stomach was hurting. I was like, God, I think I ate too much. Didn't know I was in labor or what. Goes to the bathroom, constantly trying to use the restroom. Get back at the bathroom, come out. Water broke. I ain't know. I'd have called somebody. I'm peeing on myself around here. Now, I can't stop going to the bathroom now. I'm peeing on myself. So my aunt had someone to bring her over there. She said, Tawana, no, baby, you're in labor. So I'm literally on the couch now. And you just get the urge like you want to use the bathroom.
Yes.
I'm like,
And we ain't talking about number 1. We talking about number 2.
Not realizing I'm in labor, about to have this baby at the house by myself.
Oh my God.
So by the time my aunt get there, she said, Tawana, we got to take you right on to the hospital, baby. You're in labor. So they had called my mom. She was at work. She said, I'll meet you at the hospital. Well, by the time we made it to the hospital, my mom made it too. It was this man, I think he was going to visit his wife. They had to catch me because the baby's head was literally at my head.
No way.
At my
Lord,
head.
have mercy.
So, look, so we get into the hospital, they set me down, and I'm just squirming, you know, like, God. But what really no pain? I'm 15, I ain't know what to expect. So they said, we're going to take her on up, let mom go on and register her. By the time my mom made it up after the registration, she just, baby, it's going to be okay. I'm like, Mama, the baby down the hallway in the nursery. I'd had this baby.
Wait a minute, I done missed that part of the story. Hold on.
Right? By the time they took me up and put me on tape, the nurse said, baby, please don't push. Let your doctor get in. The doctor was coming through the door. He was trying to put on some gloves. I was like,
And that was it. Poor Damon. That boy probably traumatized.
She said one push.
One push.
And that was it.
And he was out.
Wow.
What'd you say? She tried like it was hot.
So fast forward. So I had to adjust well. I, even with becoming a mom, because I had a younger sister that was 10 years younger than me. So I had kind of, practice on Tasha a lot. So it just, motherhood just kicked in automatically. And like I even told my daughter when she had her baby, don't worry about, if you know what to do. It would automatically kick into you. So it was kind of bittersweet, but my mom was very, very supportive. I had a great tribe. I was able to go off to college and live on campus.
Really?
If I didn't tell you I had a child, you really wouldn't know. And so my mom didn't require me to come home every weekend. Wow. I went off to college my first year. I went off to college my first year and actually ended up going on academic probation. And then I thought about it. I said, hey, you know what? My parents are doing too much for me to be down here playing. I got this child back home. Let me regroup. So the second year, my sophomore year, is when I transferred to the university that was closer to where I lived. And I still lived on campus, but I can come home on the weekend or to give my mom a break. I would get my son and bring my son and let him be on campus with me. And that's when I met the love of my life.
Aww.
So everything was for a reason. And so fast forward, I got married, and then Jimmy and I, we had a baby. Well, Jim had already had a baby too.
Okay.
So we were already coming in with like a blended family when we met, and then we got pregnant with Amber. Now Amber was our playing child.
Okay.
We had actually planned Amber, and I really wanted a big family. I really was going for 5 or 6 kids.
What?
Oh, wow. I've had 3
Shut your mouth.
miscarriages. I had 3 miscarriages after Amber.
Wow.
But I was really, if I wasn't 52, I'd be pregnant now.
Now.
I
Jesus.
enjoyed it. I really enjoyed motherhood. I enjoyed the pregnancy part.
I
Because
hated
I
the
didn't
pregnancy.
have the sickness.
I
I didn't have any of that.
I
So
think my children were allergic to me. Like, I literally feel that I had morning sickness the entire pregnancy with all 3 of my kids, to the point where every one of them, I had permanent spit cups. I couldn't even tolerate the saliva in my mouth. And so I would have a cup beside it. If I was at a couch, there was a cup there. If I was in my bedroom, and I would literally constantly just keep spitting and spitting because I couldn't take the taste in my mouth.
See, and I was totally opposite. I had to eat something.
No.
All the
I lost
time.
weight. They thought Jordan was going to be a preemie because I was losing weight while I was pregnant, and Jordan ended up being the biggest out of all of them. So he was actually taking everything from me. Now, my labors, I tell people all the time, like, I have a high pain tolerance. I say, look, if you carry it, I will deliver it. Because it don't, ask my husband, I do a couple of little push. They out. They gone. I didn't have any medication with any of my kids. I didn't. Other than that Pitocin they give you to kind of help get things going. But I didn't have an epidural. I didn't have no.
Right.
But being pregnant, I was miserable.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No,
And I used to get mad. I hear all those women talk about, oh my God, my skin is glowing. I love being pregnant. I was like, stop lying.
I enjoyed it.
Did you really?
I had the sickness. I had the
I
morning
used to go to the
sickness.
gym, especially with Mason.
What?
No.
I
really
had the
enjoyed
morning
it.
sickness. I was like, perfumes that I was wearing, I couldn't stand the smell of them. I literally, it's like, why are you throwing them away? I said, I can't stand it. It makes me. I stopped wearing perfume. It was just only deodorant.
You was funky.
No, I wasn't. That funky. I made sure I had some deodorant.
Y'all are silly. So we kind of talked about like the point of where everybody's kind of professional goals feel, and this is just my perception, that our kids actually need us when they start coming into that teenage and that type of year, because their hormones are raging at this point. Their social circle is much bigger. You can control their social circle when they're 4 and 5 years old, right? Because you can say no to play dates. I don't like that person, right? There's a lot you can control with that. But once they enter into that junior high, that middle school, that social circle gets huge. And then I noticed with my kids, now I had social media to compete with. I had different nationalities, because now my kids are in Houston. So they had the melting pot of people to deal with. And so, I'd get them come home and they'd say something and I'd be like, oh, no, we didn't just say that or do that. And it was because, again, what they were seeing and used to. And so I was happy when we did our business, because I said, these are the years that I need to be involved. I need to be able to check cell phones. I need to be able to know what's happening in their life. So it was a huge sacrifice. I did feel a lot of guilt, but I've switched it now to say that I still think that I've given them the foundation, and I've also shown now that you can do and have it all.
And even with me, with working in the corporate world, as a mother, I was still able to cook every day for them, make sure we sat down as a family for dinner every day. But I noticed the older that they were getting and the harder I was working, I was like, if I'm going to work this hard, I'm going to do it for yourself.
Right.
And so I was glad that I was able to pull away from the corporate world and to work for myself and bring my kids in and let them see it and let them know that it doesn't really have to be that hard.
Right.
And I've worked harder for somebody else than I really have for myself. because I'm more organized and I saw the mistakes that they made and I didn't want to repeat them. So I've never had to work that hard in my own business where if it's 8 to 5, it's 8 to 5. I'm in at 8, I'm out at 5. Sometimes.
Look at Nicole telling all your business.
But I don't have to, do that. And now that they see it, and I made the flexibility because all of my kids work for me.
Right.
And
And you got a whole family business
yes,
going on.
Yes, my
really
son, my 2 daughters.
Well, still they want to be involved in it.
Right.
My youngest have no desire to be in. And Naya say the same thing. They call it my woman cave. They like, Mama, you stay in there all the time. And that's not the life that I want. So, yeah.
It's been good though. I really enjoy it.
Now you've done a great job, Nicole, because you're transitioning, but your kids, you stay. I mean, you always involved with what's going on with them.
Yeah, and which is a blessing in itself. But they see me, and now they're wanting their own business. So last night, Mason came to me. He was like, "Me and Jace had a meeting."
We having meetings.
He was like, we decided to do our business together.
Okay.
I said, okay. So they're wanting to be business owners now. So
Which
we'll
is great.
see.
That's
Which
good.
is good. And then Mason is loving, the acting thing. So it's good for me to be able to go when I need to go.
Right.
Be there for them. And then sometimes Randall and I have to divide and conquer. Yep. Jace is busy with athletics. He wants to do all of them: baseball, track, basketball, football. So now he's in track, and so being a business owner, I couldn't see me being in corporate America
China. Yeah.
I've been to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still in corporate America, and of course my own businesses as well. So my daughter, she sees that a lot, because there are things now she's asking a lot of the things that I'm doing, and I told about,
she's
having the real estate. She says, "So what that mean, Mom? You get to sell? Oh, okay, you get to." I said, "Yes, baby." And so we've talked about real estate, and she actually even going through the courses and things with the real estate. One of the instructors gave me an idea, and I even talked it over with my daughter. And so she's going to start taking a class. By the time she's 18, she can actually take the test and be licensed. And she wants to really go to college. And I said, well, you can have that as a backup when you come home for the summer. Because she either wants to go to LSU or Southern or TH. She said, and she named 5. And so I said, when you come home, you can just get in, make you some money for the summer or things like that. So things I'm talking to her about. And it's just amazed me, and the things that she thinks about. Like, there are times she loves tie-dye. And she talked about it, selling it to her friends. She's very art. She loves to do things with her hands.
That's nice. It's nice, very artsy.
Yeah, she loves to do things with her hand. Is it paint? Is it something paper? She's going to make it. And so when I heard that, I actually nurtured that by surprising her when she came back from a weekend and gave her a whole kit. For tie-dye. So she was making up some shirts. Tie-dye
All right, so she ready to sell some shirts.
She's like, Mama, how much you think I get? I said, well, this is how much I paid for it.
Right, and show her that cost. Yeah, that's it.
Line by line.
Okay, so let's talk about our spouse, your significant other. Do you feel that they understood or they understand your drive to be successful? How did they share in helping you balance family life and support your dreams and goals?
Well, for me, my husband has actually been my biggest cheerleader. He has been my biggest support. He holds me on a pedestal. Y'all know.
She is like blushing over there. We're not mad at you, Mr. Water or Mr. Jimmy.
Even with when I decided to leave my job and start the business, we didn't even really talk it over. I had just prayed about it, and he knew it was an idea, but he didn't know when. But I was okay with leaving my job because he worked for Air Products and Chemicals, making 6-figure income. I knew he could support us. So I just walked away, and he came in, and I had started, in the house. I was going to have a home office, and he was like, "Hey, babe, I had looked around and was looking at some office space for you, and I think this would be a good office space for you." So we got it. Not knowing 3 months later.
Jimmy had a plan.
He comes back and he say, Oh, I done resigned. I put in 2 week notice from my job too. I'm like, no, what the hell?
But in all fairness, now I'm gonna be on Jimmy's side. Hold on. In all fairness,
Well,
you didn't tell him when you were leaving.
But
But
I wasn't the breadwinner. So, you know, my little pennies and coins don't really matter. I needed him because that was the big money. You know, that was the money that was the money that was going to make it happen. Right. So I was like, you know what? But you know what? He used it right back up. He said, baby, the same God that you serve.
I know that's right. Get him, Jimmy.
And had you to step up. It's the same God that I serve. I said, well, okay, well, since you said that.
Yeah, you ain't got no rebuttal.
No, we can do it. But you know, if we don't work, we don't eat.
Okay.
So we going into this thing, and home is home, and business is business. You going to be the boss at the house? I'm going to be the boss at the office. Okay. So as long as we can keep those roles defined.
And how many years has it been?
We've been working together for 15 years.
And so that's still in place.
That's
be the boss of the house.
Yes.
I know, right?
I don't overstep my boundaries. I run the business. Okay. But I let him do what he do. You know, as human resources, everybody do their department. I'll come by and I go and check on everybody. Hey, what's going on? Don't you think you need to start scheduling some of this? And I don't hamper on him, or I'll make a suggestion, or if he say something like, if someone comes in and he's going to interview him, I say, you gonna hire them? And he'd be like, yeah. I'm like, ooh. And he'd be like,
you do all that?
Well, my spirit, I just know if that's a good. Right. And then I say, hey, but you do what you do. You're human resource. I say, but I'm just telling you, I don't think it's a good fit. And 99.9,
you're right.
I'm correct. I don't even throw it in his face. I just let him do what he do.
Right.
So, but he's always been supportive, even with this. And he's like, you and your little girls and your little boss chicks. And I said, Stedman Wilson.
I know.
And so, you know, and we laugh about it. And even when I say, when I decided, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to real estate school. And he was like, are you really? You fit to send somebody to classroom? And so I did it, and he was like, damn, Tawana. He's like, girl, you never cease to amaze me. He said, I don't know. What you finna do next? I said, baby, I don't know. but
when your spirit says,
he supports it. He supports it.
Okay.
Now, Randall, for me, he was a big supporter, but he couldn't see my vision. Like, he couldn't see past me serving people in Houston. When I used to talk about going to other cities, you know, he was like, well, you're doing so well here. Why you have to go in the other? But he just didn't understand now. He said, I'm on cloud 9. But he right there with me. He's right there. So he's fine now. And he's wanting to learn more about, you know, things that I want to do, things to help. Because even one day we was talking yesterday, he was like, you remember you used to have on your check in the memo section, millionaire in the making? I was like, yeah, you remember that? He said, yeah, I used to be watching. That's right. So, yeah, he is supportive, because even in the beginning, he used to work in the business as well. Working with some of the clients hands-on, can you believe that? Yeah. Like, you know what kind of clients he deal with. But he was good with them. So now he's on board.
Okay.
He's like, you can drive.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna sit in the back.
I'm gonna follow. Yeah.
But I think they realizing, you know, it's all about women empowerment, and we are doing, you know, a lot of things, and we're breaking a lot of barriers and kicking in a lot of doors, and he be looking back like, man.
Well, I think it has to be the personality, too, because one of the things that I definitely, from very on, when Claude was always, and has always been very ambitious, even in his own work field. And so getting together with somebody that was just as driven as I am was a plus. Now, there was the dynamics of trying to figure out how to handle kids while both he's trying to, you know, build his career, I'm trying to build mine. And, of course, at this point, we both are in corporate America and in 2 different types of fields, which came with different demands, different schedules, and things like that. But what I cherish the most about my husband is he doesn't care to be in the spotlight. Yeah. And I do. I don't have a problem being in the spotlight at all. But one of the things, and that can be hard because when I was with DJ's dad, I recognized that he wanted the spotlight just as much as I did, and we were always competing against each other and not trying to build something. And so then getting with my husband and seeing that, and he's a huge supporter. He doesn't tell me no, or I don't think you should do that right now. Nothing. If anything, what I love about him is he recognizes my OCD and my ADHD that I've self-diagnosed. But he recognizes it enough that when I start getting bored, like even when I started Night of Real Estate Group, I didn't necessarily want to start that company. I was trying to get out of corporate housing, but it kept calling me, and he just kept saying, babe, you got this great opportunity, you already got this amazing client, the money is there, and you get to now have your own business. And so I did it reluctantly, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I do it. Well, literally about 2.5 years into it, I'm getting bored, and I'm like, I can do this in my sleep. I'm tired of this right here. And next thing I know, and unbeknownst to me, my husband then goes and researches the We Buy Ugly Houses franchise. And he brings that back and says, hey, I've been hearing you say you don't want to be doing this, but what about this opportunity? And I'm like, okay, great. So he like rebirthed me. Because then now I've got 2 businesses. I'm like, all right, cool. And they go hand in hand. And then last year, he did the same thing. I was starting to say, oh, I got to figure out how to spread this out. Something else needs to happen here. And he brought the lending side. He's like, babe, we letting money go out the back door. So he's been that cheerleader over here watching, and he lets, because I got those batteries in my back. My batteries are definitely, what's that, that rabbit battery? It don't never die. Like, I will go and go and go, and my eyes might even be closed. I might be asleep while I'm going, but I'm going. And so there were some moments where, like in the very beginning, Claude was the breadwinner. So for the first, probably the first 10 plus years of our marriage, everything was, I brought in a nice salary, but as far as what he did, that's where, everything came from. And then we moved here to Houston. And it was amazing because we get here, he had a great opportunity, and in about 2 months of us being here, that company completely shut down. And so I had a husband here who had been used to, and he never held it over my head, I'm the breadwinner. That wasn't the situation. But that is part of their manhood, right? And so it switched. And so for 2 years, he struggled here in Houston with getting his footing back because he tried several different things. Now, my husband didn't give up. Like, I don't support no man sitting at home, okay? So my husband knew that. So he went out, he did what he had to do. But I'm telling you, child, I was like, you got to go somewhere. Like, go to the coffee shop. But you can't be home. I can't come home and see you home while I'm out working. And he wasn't that at all. But he kind of felt like he had lost all of his referrals and everything. So then the ties switched, and I became the breadwinner. And that was a pivotal moment in our relationship because that's also when, you can have all kinds of discord going on in your relationship. And we didn't have that. And when that happened, it was like, okay, babe, what you need? What support you need? What do I need to do here? Now, he did do what because I was scared to death. I said, I'm starting this business, and there's no way in hell you get to quit your job. Like, because I looked at it and I still had looked at it up until recently, that his income was the stability income. So your income, we have always made it where Claude's income for the last 5-6 years since we've had our business covered all of our expenses. Anything I did for the business was growth, it was extra, it was retirement, it's things, kids, college stuff, it was all of that. Well, recently my husband gave his notice. So my husband's last day with his company was it will be on the 31st of March. Oh, wow. So shout out to Claude Green, because every morning I have been waking up and I have been saying to him, baby, you got 7 more days. You got 7 more days. So I said it today to him, and I can, his face is lit up. He's ready. He's going to be over our lending company and still help me with everything else. But I use what you said, and because I was still nervous, even when he came to me, he said, baby, I'm tired. And I said, you know what? Tawana said that Jim said that if they serving the same God and he blessing me, he's supposed to be blessing you too. So, that's always amazing to hear.
And see, even for Jim, it wasn't a big thing about who was the breadwinner. Because Jim was more like his dad. His dad worked. His mom never worked, and his dad came home and gave his mom the check. So even when I started dating Jim, he was giving me the check. And I was like, I love it. Got to be my husband. We was dating, and he was giving the check. So even when we got married, he never really saw his check. He really didn't care about money. As long as the bills was paid, the house was kept, he were good. Even now, he don't even know what he make, how much he make. He don't care about his check. So I be like, okay, baby, look, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have this check. It's going to go in your own account. I don't even want to see that account. And then everything else will flow through this account, and then this will be our bills account. But he don't care.
Yeah.
Normally out of that account, he got the separate account. He be buying me roses and flowers.
Yeah.
And
I know.
So
we have the separate accounts that is our little spending account, and then we have the joint account. So everything goes there. Now we pay ourselves an allowance, so we treat ourselves like a bill. So on the 1st and the 15th, when I'm paying bills, he goes to the teller machine, he gets his money out. I go get my money out, and now my account I just transfer over. He go because he got a different bank. But I'm the same way. Like I have no desire, and I've said it. I don't care to know what's in your account. None of that. But you can't call my husband today and ask him what was the light bill last month. He don't know no light.
I don't even know the name of the company.
No, and you know what? What I see with that is Claude is completely fine with it because there's that trust there. And he knows, if anything, I way more watch the money than he does. Oh, yeah. And I tell him all the time, I said, you ain't never got to worry about no pink slips coming up in here. You ain't never got to worry about walking outside, your car being repossessed. None of that stuff. You ain't got to worry about that. So, yeah, he don't care about it. He just said, can I just have my golf money? Can I just have my allowance? And he good. He good. Yeah.
Well, the support I have is me. And I have a great support system. Of course, you ladies too, y'all.
Right.
But I do have really close friend that is a male. And when I say the support is there, it's like to say, whatever you need, I mean, it's there. And so I do like that. I do have the support. Always bouncing ideas. I mean, he just thinks so much different than I. And so
is that your Boaz?
No, it's not my Boaz.
I mean, because you're talking about him.
I know, right?
Like,
it could be.
You just don't see him like that right now? I'm just saying. No pressure. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Because she seems like you
Boaz, if you're listening.
I mean, is he listening?
I don't know. He might be. Right. Well, he knows and I know, but that's a whole nother story and stuff. But yes, but absolutely.
Well, you're going to say that for next week for relationships.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have that support, and definitely my daughter as well. She always,
and that's your motivation too.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
she is my biggest motivation. Now just look at her and there are times when I watch the TV, I have this big old picture behind the TV with me and her, and she's like 3. And it's just like, it just really touched me, like, wow.
And look where y'all are now.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. Well, as always, guys, I cannot believe it. It's like almost 7 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
And if it wasn't for the fact that our producer has another show after us, we'd keep talking to you all for about another hour, because we have a lot to say if you can't tell. I think one of the things as a group we can collectively say, and hopefully what we've shared with you all tonight, is that women, you can have it all. Yes. Like no matter what stage of life you enter motherhood, you start or stop a business, you go back to corporate America, you get married and get remarried later on. Like you can have it all. And I think tonight has been a great example of sharing our individual stories.
And the bottom line is you have to put in the work.
You do. You do.
It's
You
not
do.
easy, but you have to put in the work. You have to sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
You do.
You know, you really
And you're going to be
sacrifice.
your biggest critic. Like, I know I am way harder on myself than anybody else can be. I take on way more guilt than I probably should, whether it's, am I spending enough time with the kids? Am I spending enough time with my husband?
Yes.
Even am I spending enough time with my friends and family? And then more importantly, am I devoting enough time to myself, right?
Yeah.
To recharge, to rejuvenate, because as they say, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And I think I can definitely testify, but for us four here, us ladies give a lot from our businesses, our personal life, our professional life, our friends, our family, our kids. We're constantly pouring into other people. And so this is why Boss Chicks of Houston is so important, definitely to me, was because I wanted a group of ladies around me that could also pour back into me. Because I'll keep pouring and giving till I'm empty. And now then I'm going to walk around pissed off and mad. But they do an awesome job of that. So I definitely want to thank you all for definitely refilling my cup when I need it. Yeah. So I wanted to end on a little something to let you all ladies know. So little letter to all of you working moms out there, you boss chicks that are killing it, that are doing it in stilettos, smiling, even when you want to go in the room and cry and pull your hair out. You're still holding it down. So, dear working mom, if you've ever breastfed someone, pumped, fixed bottles, or made a meal before considering your own hunger, you are a beast.
Ooh.
If you've bathed and clothed someone else before getting yourself dressed, you are a wonder. If you've ever had to juggle a work calendar with a school calendar and a family calendar, you are a marvel. If you've ever gone to work sick in order to save time in case your kids get sick, you're a champ. Bottom line, you are amazing.
Yes.
So as always, we're going to pass this over to our prayer warrior so she can end us on a wonderful note.
Our Heavenly Great Father, we just want to thank you, Lord. We just want to thank you for this day, Lord, because this is the day we've never seen and we'll never see again, Lord. Lord, we want to thank you for all the mothers that are out there, Lord, working single and married, Lord. We just thank you for them. We ask that you continue to give them strength, Lord. And most of all, continue to give them peace that passes all understanding, Lord. Because obstacles will come in our way, Lord, but they're only to make us strong. And I thank you for these ladies, these boss chicks as well, Lord, that have come into my life, that have poured into me and allowed me to pour into them, Lord, to give us balance, Lord, because it's not always easy. But we know without you, we can't do anything, Lord. But with you, we can do everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good night, everyone.